The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Former Health Minister says the budget misses the mark. The former minister says the government fails to convey that we are in deep trouble. Fred Smith says the Deputy Prime Minister is wrong to criticize the court ruling. And the National Security Minister says armed robberies and murders are up so far this year. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, June 10th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we are getting some ideas on reimagining the Bahamian economy. What needs to change? What needs to be adjusted? What is the way forward? You won't want to miss these very interesting views coming up. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, highlighting the perilous position the Bahamas is in regarding its high debt level, former Health Minister Dr. Dwight Sands yesterday saying the government's 2021-2022 budget fails to communicate the seriousness of the existing crisis and suggesting stronger measures be taken to address the situation. He said, quote, as painfully political as a national holistic come-to-Jesus moment will be, sugarcoating our current situation is not the way to go. After 2021-2022, we need to implement some belt tightening. Yes, I said it, start with the state enterprises and eliminate the concept that there is a bottomless pit for money. If I were to criticize this year's budget, I would say that it does not, in plain language, in incontrovertible ways, acknowledge that we are in deep trouble. There is no free lunch. We must now accept that things are different. Sands again saying that budget misses the mark. He also said that if needed, we do need to have that discussion on income tax. Also, during the budget debate, National Security Minister Marvin Dame saying that murders and armed robberies have increased significantly so far this year compared to the same period last year. While Dame said overall crime is down, those two categories are exceptions. The Ministry of Health reporting 2 more deaths from COVID-19. The latest deaths are a 64-year-old woman from New Providence who died on June 2nd and a 62-year-old man from Abaco who died on June 6th. The deaths pushed the total number of COVID deaths to 234. 55 deaths are classified as non-COVID, meaning that they died with the virus but not because of it, and 28 deaths remain under investigation. The ministry also reporting 25 new cases on June 8th through 21st in New Providence, 2 on Grand Bahama. And Fred Smith, QC, urging Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister to stop making comments that undermine the independence of the judiciary. As you may recall, Tuesday, Bannister said it was now open season for people who want to build homes illegally in the Bahamas as he critiqued a Supreme Court ruling which bans further demolitions in shanty towns on Abaco unless court approval is granted. He described the ruling, which was delivered by Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson on Monday, as silly and a flawed decision that is wrong in law. Well, Smith yesterday told the National Guardian that he urged the minister not to make comments which are more appropriate for his lawyers to make if they appeal. He said judges' rulings are to be respected. They are not flawed or incorrect until the Court of Appeal says so. Smith said, quote, "For the executive, for Mr. Bannister to be making mischievous, misleading, misconceived comments which undermine the rule of law, which undermines the independence of the judiciary, which devalues a judgment of the Supreme Court, it should not be made. He should stop." And former Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson will serve as the first director of the National Crime Intelligence Agency. National Security Minister Daines making that announcement yesterday. The NCIA is the primary agency responsible for gathering, analyzing, coordinating, disseminating, and reflecting the complex overlapping of both domestic and international security issues, we're told. He said the NCIA also seeks to establish channels of communication with overseas intelligence agencies for the promotion and exchange of information to advance safety. Overseas health officials and experts in Asia welcoming U.S. plans to share 500 million more doses of the Pfizer vaccine with the developing world, but some say it will take more than donations alone to address huge vaccination gaps that threaten to prolong the pandemic. U.S. President Joe Biden was set to make the big announcement today in a speech before the start of the Group of Seven summit in Britain. 200 million doses, enough to fully protect 100 million people, will be provided this year, with the balance donated in the first half of 2022, according to the White House. One professor of preventative medicine at South Korea's Gashon University College of Medicine says that U.S. donations may prove to be a huge turning point in the global fight against COVID-19, but also lamented that the help didn't come earlier. As richer countries have rushed to vaccinate wide swaths of their populations, inequities in vaccine supplies around the world have become more pronounced, with some poorer nations yet to administer a single dose. At the same time, there's increasing concern over newer virus variants emerging from areas with consistently high COVID-19 circulation. In sports, president of the Bahamas Aquatics Federation, Algernon Cargill, reelected for a second four-year term on the FINA, the International Swimming Federation Bureau, at the General Congress in Qatar on June 5th. Cargill will represent the Central American and Caribbean region as one of its two members in the Bureau. He was nominated by the CCCAN, the Central American and Caribbean Swimming Federation, from Barbados, the Congress in Barbados, at the CCCAN Championships in 2019. Overseas from the NBA, Chris Paul having another big night, helping his Phoenix Suns rout the Denver Nuggets 123-8. The Suns now have a 2-0 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. DeAndre Ayton had 15 points and 10 rebounds, and Mikal Bridges added 16 points for the balanced Suns in their fifth straight victory. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, that once dominant high-pressure ridge across the area will continue to weaken, resulting in gentle to moderate winds over the country today. For all areas, your forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny and hot conditions with a chance of a few scattered showers, mostly fair and warm with a chance of passing showers tonight. Small craft operators can expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest and central Bahamas, easterly at 15 knots over the southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest and central islands, but 3 to 5 feet in the southeastern islands. Temperature-wise, right now it's about 79 degrees and cloudy, partly cloudy skies in Nassau. Look, 77 in Freeport in Grand Bahama. Look for highs getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Your morning blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news, smart talk all day, Guardian Radio 96.9.
End of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987, and only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best. Believe in best.
Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean and enjoy enhanced safety features with our Visa debit and credit cards. Pair them with our mobile app and turn on transaction alerts. You'll receive an alert every time your card is used, so you're always in the know. CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage egg and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on computers.
Wake up, it's a new day. Start off the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Hope you're doing well.
I am.
Feels like we just were together on the show a couple days ago. These weeks are flying.
Yes, time is flying by.
My goodness, mid-June practically already. The year's almost halfway through. That's crazy stuff. But anyway, hey, glad as always to have you in our company. And we have a lot to get to this morning. And you can join the conversation, as we said. We'll give you the phone numbers in just a bit. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic and business. Morning Blend Business. We'll be talking about reimagining the Bahamian economy. We've got some folks who have some interesting views on that and what needs to be done. And we'll get into that with them this morning. But right now, there's a lot to talk about in the news. Let's do that. And in the news, more from the budget debate. On Tuesday, we got a lot of people airing their, how do I put this, grievances, issues, challenges.
Concerns, yes.
Well, yeah, a lot of, well, it seemed to be a lot more personal. But yesterday, we were hearing some real critical analysis of the budget and of the issues in the country. Not that that wasn't what was happening on Tuesday, but it just was less personal. Less personal. You might disagree with that, I don't know. But Dwayne Sands gave a very interesting contribution to the debate. Says the budget misses the mark and fails to convey how we are in deep trouble. For more on what he had to say, take a listen to this report from our Jasmine Brown.
And I know what I'm going to say now will be deemed as alarmist. But we have now reached perilously close to the fiscal cliff. And that is not a political statement. Jamaica and Barbados have already fallen. Every year since 1974, successive Bahamian governments have spent more than they collected. Single year.
Dr. Sands delivered the candid comments during his contribution to the budget debate. He pointed to the growing debt over the last 40-plus years as a key indicator of the country's dire finances.
Let's go all the way back, Mr. Speaker, to the first budget in an independent Bahamas, 1974. In that year, the revenue was $115 million, and the expenditure was $155 million. The national debt in 1974 was $108 million. It is now $9,665 million.
By June 2022, government debt is projected to swell to $10.3 billion, equating to 84.3% of GDP. Dr. Sands says this is simply unsustainable. He insisted there needs to be a come-to-Jesus moment and suggested sugarcoating is not an ideal approach. Sands insisted that it is time to lock in fundamental reforms moving forward, as he suggested several measures the Minutes administration can take, including reforming the tax system.
Reassess the tax structure of the Bahamas to meet the annual funding needs of the government. If it requires income tax, let's do it voluntarily before somebody else makes us do it.
The Elizabeth MP also pushed for more belt-tightening measures, starting with state-owned enterprises and eliminating the bottomless pit approach to finance.
If I were to criticize this year's budget, I would say that it does not, in plain language, in incontrovertible ways, acknowledge that we are in deep trouble. But if we drink cider or beer, maybe we will emerge stronger and leaner.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Okay. Been saying these things for years, but he's right. The budget hasn't conveyed that message, and we haven't heard that from the people who've been contributing. They've been, a lot of them, acting like it's just a regular year. All is fine. Everything's great, except for those who aren't in the cabinet, who are raining down the blows and, who've been very colorful in what they've been saying. But let's talk about it. He's saying some interesting things. State-owned enterprises, we've been talking about that for decades, what to do about them. Do we need to have them under the public purse? Should they not be privatized? So many of them we've been saying that about. And, of course, income tax, we've been talking about that for decades as well. What did you make of what he was saying?
I was waiting for someone to say it.
Mm-hmm. Again.
I have been waiting for someone in the House to be honest and say it. We've been focusing a lot on all these wonderful initiatives that the government plans to bring to fruition, and they all sound good, but we are in debt, and serious debt. That is about as polite as I can put it. And we have to make sound decisions that will benefit the country.
Yep.
And it doesn't make sense to pretend as if, this is great, this is wonderful, this is until next year, until after the election, and then all hell breaks loose. But all hell has already broken loose. So why don't we hunker down? Let's have an honest conversation. Let's talk honestly about where we are and how we're going to fix. What are we going to do? It's not going to happen overnight. We have to start at some point.
Yeah. And just before, because I can see people, I can imagine. But again, we've heard, not everybody's been praising the government and talking about how wonderful the leader is and all that stuff. But what we've been getting is people highlighting and pointing out all the missteps. And of course, there were countless over the 4 years, but no real talk about what needs to happen. Just pointing out all the things that went wrong. Right? And that just added to the depression and the horrible feelings that many of us are already experiencing. But what are we going to do? We could all talk for hours about all the horrible things that have gone wrong. What are we going to do? We are in a serious situation. We are near the edge of the cliff.
And that is what we need to be debating or needs to be discussed in the House. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Do we have to look at income tax like, Dwayne Sands said? What is it? What do we need to do to tighten our belts? What do we need to do?
Yep. And as you
how
said,
are we gonna do it?
do it now before
Right.
others make us do it, like what's happening with corporate tax. Let's say we may have to do that based on global
Absolutely.
actions, right? So, and then it will be a much.
We go and we borrow money. You know, a lot of times when we hear, you know, IMF or whatever, and we get so offended, you know, they're in our business and this and that. And, you know, there are all kinds of facets to that. But, you know, you go ahead and borrow money from these people, and there are certain requirements. So you have to consider that.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And it will be a bigger, much more bitter pill when it comes in that form, as opposed to doing it on your own, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's get you.
Sorry. You know, as Bahamians, we don't like people to tell us what to do, right? So
No,
let's
definitely
do it
not.
ourselves before we get to that point.
Right. Right. All right. The phone lines are lit up. Let's see what you have to say. And when they're free, you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay, let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. You know, it seems like I'm the only one who's consistently advocating for reform of the physical responsibility. I mean, the physical structure of the nation.
No, I don't think you're the only one.
I mean, you know, but I'm always on it, you see. But, you know, we have these smart folks among us, right, who's talking about, oh, we need to do this with the economy, that with the economy, the blue, the green, the orange economy, the aragonite, the resources, but we never want to tax it, you see. And the chicken's going to come home to roost. And that's what makes both the PLP and the FNM the same, because their infrastructure, their fiscal infrastructure, all the same. They go along to get along with those who making money in the economy and wouldn't tax it. It's time to tax it. You know, you don't tax the poor people who don't have it. You see, you tax those who have it, good times or bad times. You see, so I would like to see all those smart people who says they're educating the people in the media to not run away from this and get away from the garbage spots in Parliament. You understand what I'm saying? And deal with this physical infrastructure, the money that matters in this country. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's what most of it has been, spats and petty arguments. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Ms. Gardner.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Dwight, Dr. Sands is sometimes hit or miss. This time he's a huge hit. He basically explained or gave a great example of why the FNM and PLP's policies are basically identical. There's no difference between the policies of the PLP or the FNM. And it has brought us to this fiscal cliff. Do you remember the last time the government borrowed from the World Bank?
Was that any time since I've been alive? I don't.
Right. They say the World Bank considered the Bahamas too wealthy in order to give us a loan, and it was only for those countries that were really struggling. So now we're borrowing $100 million from the World Bank. Well, what does that tell the country of the Bahamas? Because apparently we don't understand what's going on. If we're so bad that the World Bank, that usually gives the countries that are their dollar value is 1,000 to 1 US and 200 to 1 US and that sort of stuff. But yet we are now in a position where we could borrow.
All right, but I mean that's mainly because of the pandemic, right? So it's an extraordinary circumstance.
You actually believe that?
You don't believe that?
No.
Okay.
2019 was the Hurricane Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got the pandemic.
Just a few months after.
Before that, we had problems with government revenue.
Yeah, we did. But it was manageable, reasonably manageable.
We basically, the pandemic didn't cause that. The pandemic was the reason why we actually over the cliff, basically. It's because of government policies that brought us to this point, not the pandemic. It's the way they manage things is why we got here, not the pandemic.
I get your point.
Again, Bames need to understand that we are actually at a point where the World Bank is actually lending us money again. And that's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. All right.
I like to listen.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Mr. Strachan, how you doing?
Hi. Good morning.
Mr. Strachan, in case you don't know, the World Bank is the last resort, okay? That means junk bonds and great mismanagement. Mr. Strachan, the bigger picture yesterday, Marvin Day Hogg, his police ticketed poor Bahamians who were waking over $1 million. Mr. Strachan, you with me?
Yeah, we're listening. I don't know if that's the bigger picture, but okay.
What Dwayne Sands is saying ain't nothing new. Chester Cooper, Gavin, don't say it, he has to go so. We don't want Dwayne Sands campaigning to run against ministers, okay? Tell the man he needs to resign for his action in French court case, okay? Condemn, okay? All right?
Okay. You are very, very special, Dave. I keep saying that, give him some more chances. Okay. It's amazing. How you do that? How you spin it back? Yeah, he's not the first to be saying this. We acknowledged that earlier, right? First, during this debate, we're hearing that kind of talk, and we're expecting more from that from the opposition leader. But does it matter? It matters to you, I guess. Who says it? Yeah? Okay. Well, we need as many people to say it as possible so that we can, right? So what difference? Anyway, I don't know. Okay.
It's important about who says it first.
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, that just adds up to more talking, right? So, yeah, fine. Others have been saying that for years. We said it, decades. But the more people to hear it, and if it's only the opposition saying it, often that will be rejected.
Right.
But if it's people within the circle, although he's not quite in the circle anymore, saying it, it does ring a little differently.
Yeah. People, and I'm not saying it's right, but people will just maybe dismiss it out of turn because it's just the opposition saying it, right? And so when you have someone who is in the governing party saying, we need to be honest about this, we need to tighten our belts, this is concern, and we need to be honest about where we are country financially, people go like, okay, I'm not getting into the right or the wrong of it. I'm just saying that is the way that people are.
All right, so some people really, really only hear what they want to hear. Now, I don't know what this text is. Lies, Dwight, from 2017. I gave suggestions. I don't know who the texter is. Okay. I gave suggestions and others did the same. Gilbert Morris, Wayne Johnson, C. Allen all gave sensible suggestions for decades. No one is listening. Never state that no one offered solutions again. I don't know who said that. Who said that?
Maybe that was in response to the first caller.
Right. Well, we told him that he wasn't the only one talking.
I think maybe that was.
Oh, maybe he's talking about him. Okay.
Right.
Well, that's what the caller said. We corrected him. We said that people have been saying this for a long time. Come on now. Everybody calm down.
I just wanted to be clear. Are we reading text today?
That's a little inside joke for our Wednesday listeners. Oh boy. Okay.
That was small of me. I'm sorry.
I guess I'll give them a shot. Why not? They paid some money, I guess. Okay, never state that no one offered solutions again. My first was on May 11th, 2017, organized a symposium for every sector of this economy. I got ideas and concrete plans to move us forward, retrain the workforce intentionally. This was before Irma, Dorian, or COVID. Cabinet is our problem, but we agree on the last part. I don't know who you are, though, so maybe you should text us. Tell us who you are, because it sounds like people want credit for their ideas around here these days. Okay. Now, this one says, we had numerous issues, and we are in need. No major income is coming in. How are we supposed to support the country? That's in response to the caller who's criticizing the money from the IMF. All right. Okay, we'll get to Fred Smith.
World Bank.
Yeah, we'll get to Fred Smith in a bit. This one says here, tell them to answer who that for. What now? Okay. There are a number of means to enhance revenue which may not solely be derived from increased taxation. We have institutions and systems in the civil service that ought to be strengthened and made transparent, accountable, and responsive. Let's understand the importance of efficiency to get and keep the economy flowing. We are continuing to operate from top to bottom as if it's business as usual. All of that probably can be done together, though.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Every area needs to be explored. At this point, to my mind, there is nothing off the table. Let's look at making sure that we have proper control measures in place so that it will increase efficiency and eliminate wastage wherever we need to be exploring. Everything should be on the table.
Yep, absolutely. This one says, I saw Mr. Chester Cooper, something is missing here, until I think that's what they're trying to say. I thought Chester Cooper was the future until he said he was not interested in income tax, which okay. And this one says, this is genius. The government actually has the citizens begging to be taxed. We don't need more money taken out of our pockets. We need the economy to be expanded first, to have more money coming into the country to benefit all, and to have government curb their spending. That is what is needed. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. And how shall we do that? What do you suggest? All right, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Miss
Laverne is fine. Laverne is so fine. You can just say Laverne. I'm good.
Gardner, right?
Yes, Gardner. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Miss Dwight. Dwight and Miss Gardner, man. Dwight, you, like I keep telling you, what's going on in this country, Dwight? Why we can't have no serious advocation for the poor people in this country and their circumstances and conditions, right? Why we can't see lawyers rallying up themselves and finding ways, like how Fred Smith can find ways for the people with are homeless in this country, right? Why we can't find persons who willing to go to our constitution and the laws to see why our governments are reluctant and looking for ways to reduce the poverty in this country, right? Because at the end of the day, the only people in this country don't want an income tax are the ones who would really have an income. Because if an income tax happens, it wouldn't be everybody who making a salary would be taxed from that income tax, right? It has to be from a certain level of where your income is for you to be taxed, right, Dwight?
Yes, well, it depends on the system that we put in place, but yes.
Depends on the system.
Because, they might decide to tax every single buddy. You know how this place goes.
Right.
But you make $5 and you got to pay $2 in income tax. So who knows? But it depends on what you put in place, yes.
Right. So, politicians and business people in this country makes a lot of money, right? And only that they pay the same tax, like, it was said that, everybody pays. So I believe that is a blatant unfair, right? That ain't leveling off no play field or making no balance in a country. Because at the end of the day, the ones that are burdened with the most tax, they don't have the most revenue to pay tax.
Mm-hmm.
So that is unfair. So when it comes to Dr. Sands, right? I look at Dr. Sands as a crack in the F&M, right? Because the F&M is split, and Dr. Sands represents that split. The human menace F&M, right? And the F&M that Dr. Sands represents is two different F&M, right? So right now is the time for Dr. Sands. I don't support none of them, but I'm just watching. But now is the time for to move himself from that human menace F&M, because he know they're going down, right? But the only difficulty with what we watching as far as these political parties is that the F&M and the PLP has proven that they twins. They might as well be born the same time, because they do exactly the same thing over and over. But who's gonna come in the place of these guys, right? Whoever's gonna come in the place of these guys, they need to start showing their head now, because you can't wait for 6 months to bring no momentum to me in particular. For me to vote for you, your momentum should already be in place right now, because you don't need to wait for a bell to ring in order for you to start demonstrating and showing people what it is that you're proposing to do, man.
Yep, very good points. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let's take this call and get back to your text messages. Good morning, caller.
A godly day to the student, dark in the ways with you on Palm, Dwight.
This is Laverne. Hi, yes, good morning.
Okay. Dwight, I missed Dr. Sands someplace. Now he's speaking of income tax and corporate tax, or income tax alone.
He mentioned income tax.
Well, we need corporate tax also. You see what I'm saying? Because they're the people with making all the money and a lot of money going out of the country.
He's talking about taxation in general. Look, tax reform. So, yeah.
May I ask another question?
Sure.
When it comes to this COVID, right? You mentioned in the news that several people died. I forgot how many you said, right?
2 additional deaths.
But they weren't died of COVID.
No. 2 additional deaths, and there were other deaths that haven't been classified. 28 deaths remain under investigation, and 55 deaths are classified as non-COVID. They had COVID, but they didn't die because of COVID.
But the thing is, Dwight, COVID had something to do with it, some type of contribution.
No.
Why?
They've given examples already. If you got in a car accident, if somebody shot you, if you had cancer already, and
Dwight, if somebody with 2 different sickness, right? Both of them have to contribute to the death. Okay?
Okay. Well, I mean, hey, what's happening? What am I hearing? Are you still there? Okay, he's gone. Folks, I don't have the energy. But, so this is what they're saying, right? 55 deaths, so you can understand that, right? You were already dying. You got COVID. It didn't make you any worse than you were because you were practically there. Or something happened to you while you had it. You fell down the stairs while you were in your home. That sounds, horrible. But, yeah, so, oh, boy, that's really awful. That happened. Man. Laverne, you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
I am here.
Oh, boy. All right, let's go back to the text line. That's probably best. Dwight, based on the severity of the difficult times we're facing as a nation, why are we as Bahamians, why we Bahamians can only think with a measly piece of our brains with F&M, DNA, PLP, and the like, with our political perverted mindset? I don't know if I understand the question or can answer the question, even if I did understand it, but okay. But why indeed? Sure. This one, Dave is right. How honest is Dr. Sands? This should have been said long ago, besides if you've been found. Okay, here we go. Yeah, sure.
Again, me, I have an issue when we start splitting hairs. Are we going to go into the timing? Oh, this should have been said long ago. You're just saying this. Okay. We have an issue. Let's not focus on who and the timing. Let's deal with the fact that this is indeed an issue that needs to be addressed. Can we do that?
Yes, I agree. But also maybe we should. We should focus because people don't seem to get it. You only hear your MPs speaking what you perceive as the truth when they are out with the party or in the opposition, right? They only speak how you feel when they are no longer in the cabinet. Should we have in the House of Assembly cabinet members? Should the people we elect be free to speak for us or speak their minds? We keep getting to this point within year 3 or 4 of any administration when people get kicked out of the cabinet or lose their
They
jobs,
lose their
as whatever it is they're
and gain their
doing.
voices.
Right. They're no longer the directorman of this. And then they start to feel some type of way and start to speak the truth. And again, in quotation marks, this is when we say, oh, finally, right? The speaker now is saying all the things that he should have been saying from year one. But again, this is the problem with this type of system that we have here, and especially when we are bastardizing the system by giving everybody on the government side a position instead of a minuscule number to represent the cabinet. Although I feel none of them should be in the cabinet. But anyway, maybe if this continues to happen, people will get it and call for a complete reform of the system that we have.
Right.
Or maybe you just enjoy this. You enjoy being able to send text messages to say, oh, where was his voice in year one when he was in the cabinet and couldn't speak? That's the person you elected, though. That's the person you elected. You're fine with them not being able to speak, and you're hoping that they get fired so that they can finally speak? Is that this game that we're going to be on forever? Just over and over and over? Yeah? Because we could run a show from 10 years ago and it'll sound the same.
Same way.
5 years, same thing. The recast actors. Today, the role of upset MP from this constituency is being played by, whatever. When are we going to fix it? When are you going to be tired enough to say, it's time for us to really tear up that Constitution? Caller, you're on the air. Are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
How you all doing?
We are here.
Yeah, I'm listening to the show also every morning. I thank God for life for all of us today. I've heard the comments, the truth, honesty, integrity, and truth. Do not take sides. I cannot take sides because I want to be honest in this life. I have children to be honest for, my integrity and my truth. So this is how what I say. The two parties in this country, if they remain, Bahamas, the decisions we make to put them back will cause international decisions that is contrary against us to continue. That's point number one I want to make. The second simple point I want to make is this. The country, we already know the country belongs to us. The truth of the matter is, do we love country more than ourselves? Or do we love parties more than country? Because we need to get our act together. And the truth being told, the Progressive Liberal Party, if they were to be elected, nothing will change around the world as it relates to a major decision we made just by voting them in. We must remove both of these. Hurt me in my soul to say that, but it is the honest, integral truth. Both is causing our lives. We ain't have to worry about no country. Our lives are being contravened. We're being discriminated, and that alone is causing us grief and sickness and stress and death, chaos and destruction. These two parties have brought to me personally. Now, what have they done for you? Good day.
Okay. Well.
Do you have a text?
Actually, I think the world's coming to an end. I think this is the first time in 9 years. I think I actually totally agree with everything he said. I'm very worried. Get your affairs in order, baby people. Call up your loved ones and speak to them today. But he's right. He's right. Okay. Should we? I'm in shock. I don't know what to do.
Who are we loyal to?
I got to take a break because I don't know what to do now. Mr. Producer, we need to go to the commercial. We need to go. Yes, let's go to the news. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. I have to gather myself. Stay with us.
Wake up, it's a new day. Digital banking, online, RBC.
RBC Banking Online. Pay your bills anytime.
RBC Digital Banking is so easy. Granny and Granddad can do it. Sign up for online banking or download the RBC Caribbean app.
With RBC, it's safe and easy. Send your money hassle-free. RBC.
Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/bank at home. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
BTC is elevating the Bahamas with our super-fast fiber internet experience. More people in more places can enjoy the best home connection starting with 100 megabit speeds. With over $6.5 million invested, our network grows stronger each day, delivering the best home internet for all your needs. Call us at 242-225-5282. Visit btcbahamas.com or any retail store to upgrade to the super-fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic stay. Very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
Meet Jackie. Jackie's a hard worker with a steady income, but she has a personal loan and multiple credit cards to pay off. To keep her account current, Jackie opted for a loan from Fidelity Bank to consolidate her debt into one monthly payment and earn interest on a built-in savings account. Be like Jackie. Call 356-7764 to book a complimentary financial coaching session. Fidelity also offers virtual assistance. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. It's Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
7:42 the time for your morning plan traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, as usual, Smile Alert Highway, your hotspot this morning. Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. You're going to be seeing the heavy traffic and the northbound lanes there. Glasgow looking a little bit better for you, but you will still see that slowdown as you get closer to JFK Drive in that northbound lane. Elsewhere, Carmichael Road seeing the heavy traffic eastbound towards Blue Hill Road, and Independence Drive westbound is where the traffic is at. As you approach that roundabout with Blue Hill Road, still a little bit on the Blue Hill Road side, northbound heading towards that roundabout. Elsewhere, we've got at major intersections along Prince Charles Drive, and often the timing of the traffic signal, the traffic light, is why we're seeing the traffic back up there, especially in the westbound lanes. Keep that in mind this morning. And we've got some traffic at East Bay Street at the foot of the Sydney-Poitiers Bridge, so keep that in mind if you're heading eastbound there. That's your real-time traffic. We'll have another update for you just after the 8 o'clock news. That's brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. We've got that once dominant high-pressure ridge across the area. That's going to continue to weaken while producing gentle to moderate winds over the country. For all areas today, look for partly to mostly sunny and hot conditions with a few scattered showers. Mostly fair and warm tonight with a chance of a passing shower. Small craft operators can expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers. Another hot day in store, highs getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a weak high-pressure system will remain the dominant weather feature across the islands into the weekend. So for tomorrow, Friday, we're looking at partly to mostly sunny and hot conditions, isolated showers with increasing cloudiness and shower activity by the evening is tomorrow. Then Saturday, partly sunny and very hot with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas. The tropics quiet, tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 5 days. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Rev Cable Bahamas, you and us together.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you. Begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. Our fastener store, Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We are talking about what's in the news, getting a reaction to what's been said in the House's budget debate. Dwayne Sand saying the budget, this current the upcoming 2021-2022 budget misses the mark, fails to convey how deep in trouble we are at this time and how the future is looking dark. Okay. This text here, if we are not able as a government to handle the income we are receiving from our taxes now and overspend what we are receiving, why do you think that finding another way to get more taxes would make it possible for us to magically spend responsibly? He that is faithful over little will be faithful over much, Luke 16:10. All right, your text, you're not understanding some critical things here. We have to borrow to maintain the lifestyles that we have in the country, to pay the salaries of the folks who are working in the public service, and that's the largest employer in the country, the government is, and the cost of living is extremely high. There's all kinds of imbalances here. We are not taking in enough to cover our expenses. That is the crucial, critical point there, right? We have a problem. We're borrowing in order to make ends meet all the time. For everything. Every little shock we got to borrow. Every little, big shocks too, of course, right? But the little ones we have to. That's what the problem is there. So we have to find another way. You could possibly do it by increasing the population and keeping the status quo, but you all don't want to really think about that or to talk about that. Or you have to find some other ways to tax the few people that you have here, right? So the big decisions have to be made. Are we going to grow the population we need to be, in my opinion, close to 1 million to really get some things going here? Or new ways to tax the people who can pay taxes now. We still need to adjust that cost of living, though, no matter what, I think. But anyway, that's what the problem is there. That might have simplified it over a bit more than, right? But so you get what we're talking about, because I don't know if some people get it. It's not just taxing for fun. We're not doing that. All right, lots of people reacting to our callers and my reaction to them. Yes. Sure. This one here, Dwight, I am ashamed of this government and support them all the way, but this is not the FNM government I know. This PM needs a head check. This is not a joke. We are in some deep, deep problems. I'm the guy who loves to say FNM. Okay. Well, hey, let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning to Lorraine from the north. And good morning, Bob. Let me see if I can help you. You see, the Prime Minister, he's not only my Prime Minister. He is my personal friend. Listen to them. I know he's got pressure from the both former Prime Ministers, the white and black rich people in this country, and the foreigners putting pressure on him. Now, a lot of people not paying their fair share taxes. And like you said earlier, we have to borrow money to pay our civil servants and pay pension and everything. We need to, remember me, I keep telling you a long time, right, let's go get a lotto and earmark these monies. The Bahamas is the only country in the world don't have a lotto. How you get a lotto? Every country takes everybody get a lotto. The monies will be in the earmark to deal with NHI, deal with paying on the debt, etc., etc. See, right, nothing will change in this country until 2027. See, this already last time around. The whole Moses too. After that, this is last time around. The young people ain't going to look at them. And they know they did it wrong. They've been in prison for all these years. They let's make no laws. They have our people. We got a lot of natural resources in this country, and only a certain 15 million. That's not fair. We need to stop canceling and reviewing these things when government changes, because all they're doing is costing me and you, Dwight, the taxpayers, pay extra money. That don't make no sense. Government's supposed to be continuous. The civil servants need to start doing their job. We need a public service reform. Who ain't doing their job, they need to kick out the service, man. And thanks for taking my call, no better.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's take this one. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi.
How you doing, man? You and your guest.
Hi. Good morning. Doing well.
But I got a little reality check here. My first visit to Barbados, right? I went in to the bank to do some conversion, and the dollar was 2 to 1. As a matter of fact, the Barbadian dollar to the U.S. dollar is 0.50, right? And then this lady and her husband came in the bank with 4 boxes. So I asked them what they was doing. They tell me they come to buy a car. I say, buy a car? What in them boxes? They tell me money. I say, 4 boxes to buy a car. They point up a little car in the yard, right? And I asked them, well, how much for the car? So they tell me $120,000 paid in. Let me tell you something. I ain't no FNM, I ain't no PLP, but I think we need to do what Dwayne Sands say now before somebody else come and tell us do it. Because the Haitian dollar is 0.011 and the Jamaican dollar is 0.0067. And when I look at the Bahamian conversion, it's 1 to 1. We need to do something now, Dwight, while we still floating. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. All right. Well, yep. I hear you. Is Laverne still there?
I'm right here.
All right. We've got another call.
I'm right here. I was on mute. Totally missed all of the brilliant things that I said.
Oh no. Yeah. Okay. Repeat it then. Say.
It's possible.
Oh dear.
But really, seriously, like, we need to get that. We need to get the fact that we need to do things. Some people don't want to talk about taxes. Why are we talking about taxation? I'm going back to the point that I made. Everything needs to be on the table. We need to open up and look at everything and say, what can we do better? How can we increase our revenue? How can we cut back on our spending? If we tax and this tax dollars, where are we putting it? Fiscal responsibility. All of it.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air. Good morning. Are you there? I hear something. No. Okay. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. 422-4796. All right, some more messages here. We do have 1 million people here now. Check the bushes. Oh, boy. Wow. Do you remember the first thing Christie did when he got in power? He took his entire cabinet on vacation to Family Island. Did he do that, really? Then he told us he had to tax us because he see we had no money. First part of that, I'm not sure. Anyway, I agree with that texter. You give this crew more money, they will waste it building 2-story sidewalks. Getting more money is only part of the solution. The F&M needs to put on their big pants and address the leadership failings and need for change. Yep, we're not saying that we don't need transparency and fiscal responsibility. You're saying you need that too, definitely. But we do creative ways of doing things in this country. People need to...
And let's also be very honest, right? The position that we are in now didn't just happen last night. It didn't just happen 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. We've been headed down this very slippery slope for a long time. We may have gone down it a little bit faster in these past 4.5 years, but we've been on this slippery slope for a long time.
Absolutely. Yep. Some more messages here. People need to put aside party politics. Too many of us just into who wins the next government, but they are not in reality. We continue to borrow money with no end in sight. When will this stop? Bill after bill after bill. Okay. This one says here, when you say grow the population close to 1 million, you need to spend necessarily being wealthy. You can't have a blind growth in population with poor and needy people. Yes, exactly. That is true. And we need the best of the best from around the world. We need to find a way to attract the most brilliant minds here with, I don't know what type of incentive programs we can offer, but we need to be like, even Canada needs to step up. Anyway. But they used to want people with some special skills and right. It's changed a bit in recent years, it seems. But yeah, we need to do that. You come to this beautiful paradise and we are on the verge of something great, and find a way to entice folks to come. The rocket scientists and all the others who can help to grow this nation. Get them here somehow, somewhere.
That is to have an overall plan for the country, right? So that you can say we want to attract the biggest and the best and the brightest minds in these industries, because this is what we see where we're going in the future, and this is what we want to do. It's not just a free fall. So we have to have an overall plan, development plan for this country.
Yes.
And based on that, then we do our best to attract these people if that's the route that we're going to take.
Because they need to know we're serious as well. What am I coming here for?
Right. What are we going to come here for? Right?
Yep.
So that's one of the first things we need to establish. What is it? What is our overall development plan for this country? That's a party governing.
Where do we want the Bahamas to be in 2050, 2070? What do we see for this place?
And then how do we get there?
That has not been
our. We're going to be taking. You know, we have to have a strategic plan, and that is a part of it.
Yeah.
What is this plan, this development for this country?
Yes.
What is our development plan? How are we going to get toward it? Those are the things that we need to be working towards. Even in terms of when we're creating incentives, those are the things that we need to be incentivizing.
Definitely. We're going to talk more about that after the news and more on this, and we'll get to Fred Smith as well. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook us, facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. And now at 8:21, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. That once dominant high-pressure ridge is weakening across the area, but still ushering in gentle to moderate winds across the country today. For all areas, your forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny and hot conditions with a few scattered showers, mostly fair and warm with a chance of a passing shower tonight. Small craft operators can expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers today. Look for high temperatures getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a weak high-pressure system will remain the dominant weather feature across the area into the weekend. So for Friday, tomorrow, look for partly to mostly sunny and hot conditions with isolated showers. Expect increasing cloudiness and shower activity by the evening across the southeast Bahamas. Then for Saturday, partly sunny and very hot with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas. In the tropics, tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend Weather Check. Weather Check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And we've got another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, we have Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic from south of Soldier Road all the way up to the Independence Drive roundabout. That's the northbound lanes, heavy there. And Blue Hill Road looking busy from practically all the way down to St. Vincent Road, all the way up to that roundabout with Independence Drive. Eastbound on Carmichael also busy this morning, and we are seeing traffic on Soldier Road as you get closer to East Street and the intersection there. And Soldier Road, as you approach Windsor Place, you'll be seeing quite a bit of heavy traffic there. Keep that in mind if you're in that part of the island. Elsewhere, Smile Butler Highway, as usual, heavy traffic from Fire Trail up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, and Gladstone Road northbound heavy as well to as you approach JFK Drive. Also on Tawny Grooms Darling Highway, that roundabout with Bahamas Games Boulevard eastbound, you're going to be seeing some traffic there. And further east in your province, we've got Eastern Road, seeing some heavy traffic westbound from Fox Hill up to Johnson Road. And then pockets along Wolf Road, the major intersections, Marathon northbound, and pockets along Prince Charles Drive, mainly westbound lanes. That's what we're looking at this morning. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert. Brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, 6.9 FM.
Hey, KB. Yes, sir. Boy, you know, when you love these women, it'll really make you do some crazy things. Boy, I agree with you, Ronnie. Listen, you gotta check this out. This really happened to me. What? Yes, boy. Why you gotta hear this? My gal asked me to lick ice cream off her she kitchen floor. What? What is the song? To prove my love, I had to do it. She's a freaky. Or she won't check for me no more. In spite of all the dirt and rubbish. In spite of all the muck and stains. If she really did want me, sop it up. At least she could have cleaned. Cause horse for horse.
What?
Goat for goat.
This, what is this song? What was that?
Confused. I'm confused.
Wow, okay. I don't know if that's appropriate for the morning. What? Oh, it's ice cream, sure. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with Laverne Gardner. I don't know what's going on. Hey, everybody. We are talking about what's in the news. We're going to get to Fred Smith in just a bit. Just want to finish off what we were talking about before the break. We said some things. I got a lot of people talking during the break, Laverne. We were talking about a plan and having a plan for the way forward, especially if we are talking, and not many of us are, but some of us are, talking about recognizing that we do need growth in our economy, especially to be viable for some industries and for some to attract some of the attention that we do need to present some new revenue streams for the country and new job opportunities for the country. But we do need to grow that economy in a responsible way with talent that we can use for future development. Now, people are saying, well, why do we need to reinvent the wheel already? Because you talked about the plan, that we need a plan. We just can't just say that. Hey, come here if you have a plan. And people say, well, why reinvent the wheel? We already have the National Development Plan. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
How's it been working so far?
Well, we know that this administration immediately had nothing to do with that. They just would push that to the side. I don't even know if they could find a copy of it. They can't find a copy of it all.
I don't have an issue with us using what we already have. We're not, to my mind, from what I see, we're not doing that, right? So, okay, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do they care? Do they care? Yeah. This text here, income or revenues, not the government's problem. It's their spending and their unwillingness to implement legislation to hold them accountable. They waste money on these corrupt contracts and unproductive spending projects. Overburdening taxes only lead to low growth and more borrowing and more financial disaster. Okay. They're telling us to stop being gullible and accepting the lies of these unqualified politicians. So that's somebody who's very much opposed to increased taxation, including, I'm sure, income tax. Okay. This one says, the government can tax us into oblivion, but if they are not fiscally responsible and are wasting money, what good is it? Yes. Okay.
Very true.
Mm-hmm. This one says here, the brilliant minds are here, but no one is listening, or those who do steal the ideas and botch them. Okay. Another one here. I'd recommend taxation combined with spending cuts. One way would be a one-time-a-year income tax. One-time-a-year income tax. Okay. In the public sector, an alternative to layoffs is a rotational system of temporary permanent layoffs. There's no denying this sector is highly inefficient. Lastly, taxing those who currently don't pay taxes, that needs to be done. We cannot be afraid to tax the wealthy at the risk of the whole country going over a cliff. Okay, sure. Yeah, more commentary about that song. Okay, let's take this call, and then we're going to move on to Fred Smith. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. And who's that again?
That's
Mrs. Gardner,
Laverne,
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mrs. Gardner, how y'all doing?
Hi.
Can you hear me, Dwight?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I couldn't hear Mrs. Gardner. Either way, good morning to the nation. Dwight, a lot of things have been said in the conversation this morning, which are all very important issues, national issues. I want to speak to three of them quickly. I'll start with Fred Smith. I fully support the statement by Fred Smith. I've expressed all of the sentiments he has expressed on your show yesterday when I spoke.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that what he said was very responsible, very measured, and absolutely correct. Okay, and I would encourage. Can you hear me, Dwight?
We can hear you.
Because I'm hearing a double talk in my background, so I'm asking. I would encourage the Deputy Prime Minister, who is a senior cabinet minister and a senior officer of the court, to be more respectful to the court, be more tempered in his approach, and not seek to abuse the authority vested in him as a part of the executive in the country over another part of the independent arm of government in our country, right? It does not set a good example, and I would encourage his colleagues, member of parliament, that's all their talk amounts to. They're not addressing the facts that was discussed at the court level. All they're doing is infusing all sorts of issues that has nothing to do with the ruling today. and it's not a substantive ruling on top of all of that. Moving on to the critical point that you're discussing as it relates to the former Minister of Health's contribution in Parliament regarding the current budget exercise underway. There's so many issues. I know I will never have the time, unless I'm on your show, Dwight, to intelligently dialogue with you and the nation on my concerns. But Mrs. Gardner made a statement before you went on your news break. Can you still hear me, Dwight?
Yes, we can.
Right. I want to challenge that. I also want to challenge some of the points from Dr. Dwight Sands. I agree with one of the points that he made, which I find to be very sound and very practical, which is that the government's approach to the current crisis we're experiencing does not display any level of confidence towards resolving the issues, nor understanding of the current challenges that we face. But the Varian made a statement saying that the problem is that this thing has been going on for so many administrations, and Dr. Sands tried to draw on that same footnote, stating that the challenges goes back to 1974, where we've been outspending our revenue. I completely, as much as humanly possible, disagree with both of those perspectives because they're both flawed. First and foremost, Mrs. Gardner, the biggest problem that we have right now, as it relates to what is happening in our country, is the speed at which the deficit has grown over the last 4 years. It is the speed that is unsustainable. If anyone understands, or if anyone can conduct a deep and comprehensive dive on economics and fiscal budgets in our country and what is necessary to create an environment for sustainable development and sustainable growth in our country, we would recognize that we will be outspending revenue in our country perhaps for decades to come until we reach the point of maturity in our economic expansion, until we reach the point of maturity in our fiscal development that would be put in place can sustain what we have going in our country. We will continue to outpace spending in our country, our revenue generation in our country with expenditure. But the point being, we need to have key and relevant expenditure. That's where we're missing the boat. We need to be able to conduct the levels of analysis and deep dives in our country that can dictate what the outcomes will be for us when we make this step, or when we make that step, or when we make that step, so that when we invest our scarce and hard to come by dollars, we can understand that the return on those investments in every instance will realize this in this period of time or that in that period of time. We are missing tremendously in those areas. Therefore, we continue to spend money like a chicken without a head, or like a rudderless ship, as my leader loves to refer to. And anyone who knows who my leader is, or who I am, my leader is the Honorable Philip Brave Davis. We will continue to spend money like a rudderless ship until we are able to conduct the proper levels of analysis. Now,
okay, we got to go, Anton. We got other calls, okay, but that's been happening. But sure, okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. We are on there, caller. Are you there? No, okay. Let's take this one. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and to the nation. Dwight, 2 quick points. Firstly, the biggest misstep that this government has made, they have not yet realized that they're the government for the Bahamas, not the government for the F&M. This government has been governing for F&Ms and supporters, persons who they feel that would have supported them, whether it be financially or however support. And that is the problem, because if you are not focusing on the Bahamas at large, then you're only focusing on a handful of people, which means that you're not impacting your economy the way you should. Because if certain persons in the country does not support you or is not a part of your regime, then that means that they are completely cut out from society, and they have no way to invest into the economy. Secondly, in my humble opinion, if 75 cents out of every dollar that comes in the country is going back out, then we're focusing in the wrong direction. We need to change our focus. I understand, work permit brings a couple of dollars in, but regardless of that couple of dollars that those work permits bring in, look at how much money goes out of the country every week, and it defeats the purpose. You are shooting yourself in the foot because you're not focused on monies that stays into your economy. You're not focused on empowering your local Bahamians who are the spenders in the economy. So therefore, your economy will die. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Let's take one more call and then we're going to move on. Yep. All right. Let's go. Okay, good. Well, that's a sign there. Let me read these and then we'll move. Make no mistake, we will have a new government next year. I just wish that Mrs. Hannah Martin would be the next PM. Okay. Boy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All the messages about the callers. All right. Let's move on. So we've been teasing it all morning. Fred Smith and Wayne Monroe. Wayne Monroe also speaking about it. So two QCs talking about Desmond Bannister's comments, saying they were inappropriate. You heard Fred Smith in the news. We'll get to that in a second. Let me read what Wayne Monroe is saying. Our Jasper Ward writing about it. Wayne Monroe QC says that Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister's criticism of a Supreme Court justice's ruling on shanty towns were, quote, completely inappropriate for a member of the executive. Monroe says, quote, we have a separation of powers. Order in the country depends on the public having confidence in the public institutions. I often don't agree with the judge's decisions. I often think they are flawed. The place for me to argue that is in the Court of Appeal. It is almost as if the minister is trying to threaten the Court of Appeal, and in my view, his comments are contemptuous. They are in contempt of court. It is a comment about an extant matter that is in the court, because I understand the Attorney General indicated that the government will appeal. The rule that a lawyer like Desmond Bannister must know is that when a matter is sub judice, you do not express a view on the merits. If he says that the judgment is silly, it is dangerous. He's basically threatening the Court of Appeal to say they must overturn it. That is contempt of court. He said the Deputy Prime Minister should also be called to account for his contempt in the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal. He asked, quote, could you imagine what he's saying? He's saying that this is silly. What is that saying to the Court of Appeal? This is silly, so you must overturn it. So he has to be called to account, and he should really be dismissed as a minister. Good governance says that ministers of the government do not assail the other institutions of state. Certainly they do not do so. His comments, so he has to go. That's what Wayne Monroe QC is saying, although he is a candidate, I believe, for the opposition. But nevertheless, that's what he's saying. Okay, so Fred Smith is also criticizing this, as you heard in the news. He is having some strong words about what Bannister had to say. Jasper Ward also writing about this in the paper today, saying that, quote, I urge Minister Bannister not to make comments which are more appropriate for his lawyers to make if they appeal. Judges' rulings are to be respected. They are not flawed or incorrect until the Court of Appeal says so. And then even the Privy Council can speak to what the Court of Appeal says. But for the executive, for Mr. Bannister to be making mischievous, misleading, misconceived comments which undermine the rule of law, which undermines the independence of the judiciary, which devalues a judgment of the Supreme Court, it should not be made. He should stop. I urge Minister Bannister to cease and desist making comments that undermine the independence of the judiciary, because, let me remind him, fair but for the grace God goes I. When the F&M needs to go to court for something, they will want to uphold whatever judgment the court gives. Win, lose, or draw, there should be respect for the pronouncements of the judiciary. Smith said, using some words of Bannister, saying, quote, it seems to be, quote, open season on the judiciary. It's a crying shame that our government doesn't do something about it. Instead, they encourage it. So I urge the government to stop abusing the judiciary, who are only doing their jobs as independent members of the three-part system of government we have. All right, let's get views on this, folks, what they are saying. Do you agree with them? Did Bannister go too far?
I think think so. I think that his remarks became inappropriate. You know, it's not the ruling is not worth the paper it's on. You know, and it's just poor judgment.
Yeah, that word "silly" is very,
Yeah,
very, very
you
powerful.
know, when you say that, and perhaps it was born out of his frustration with the ruling, but still, there is a way to go about these things. He had already stated that they're going to appeal, you know, so I think that they were inappropriate.
Yeah. All right, the phone lines are lit up. Let's hear what you have to say. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Glenn. How are you?
Doing well.
Wonderful. Dwight, could you tell me now, why should I go all the way back to 1974 and 1975 to qualify this national debt? I mean, historical data is always good. But I've got to question the honesty of that former minister that mentioned that inside the House of Assembly, Mr. Dwight Sands. Is he honest enough to become deputy prime minister? Is he honest enough to become leader of the Free National Movement?
Was that mentioned at all? I don't know if that was ever mentioned, that that's what his goal is at the moment.
What I'm saying is it is just my view, Dwight.
Which one? What's your issue? The whether it was necessary to bring it up?
Yes, both of them. Okay.
Okay.
Because historical data could prove him right, but then the past 4 years speed up this debt to be.
He was using it as an example to show that we are in problems. We've been in problems. We really have to do something better. This is not the way to go. We cannot do another 40, 50 years of that. That will be ruinous.
Exactly. So therefore, he should take over the Ministry of Finance when he becomes prime minister. Because yes, you heard me exactly right. He should take it over when he becomes prime minister. First, he's got to become leader of that great party. Okay, thanks for letting me share.
Okay, all right. Well, I think you've proven the point there that the system is crazy. I don't understand. This Christmas, you can't criticize. What? You can't offer criticism at all. Apparently, you get yourself. I don't know.
But you know the other thing, and I'm going back to what we are supposed to be talking
Right.
about.
I was about to say, I don't know why we're talking about that again. But anyway.
Right. So the other thing about it too is, you know, maybe part of the frustration too for him is the fact that the government keeps losing these cases. Like whenever they go to court.
Oh, you're going back to Bannister now. Okay. Thought you were.
Yeah.
You're right. Yes. Well.
So that may also be, they're like what, 0-10 now?
So
I don't know.
What is he going to say when they lose the Court of Appeal case? Oh, gosh.
Like,
oh, my Lord.
So
I
think
we might have to have
a combination of all of those things.
They're going to have to censor it. Like, beep. Okay.
You know, maybe at that point he'll say, no comment.
Maybe. Okay, let's take you're on the air. All right. Let's take the other one. Good morning. You're on the air. All right. Can't hear you. Good morning.
Okay, get it.
Yeah, there we go. Yes.
Okay. To you and your host. I guess you're old enough to remember the Darcy Ryan case, right?
Somewhat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Clemente Maynard arrested there along with the Prime Minister, first Prime Minister. He was told to give the man citizenship or contempt of court, and the Prime Minister at the time, Sir Lyndon, said, if Clemente Maynard go to jail, prepare a cell on the side for him too. So tell Anton Thompson stop talking foolishness. Bannister didn't do anything as yet. You could disagree with a judge direction. You could disagree with a judge. So Bannister didn't do anything as wrong as yet. All right, let Anton Thompson know that.
Okay, all right. Well, Fred Smith and Wayne Monroe also saying it, but
I don't think that they're saying that you cannot disagree with the ruling, but they're just saying the and your words.
Right, the words mainly. He said some things that were, as we talked about yesterday on the show, compare Bannister's comments to the Attorney General's, who said we disagree and we will challenge this in the Court of Appeal. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But that's basically
His
what he said.
response was very measured.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not saying that he doesn't have the right to disagree. He is well within his right to disagree.
Yes.
We're just talking about you going out and now you're addressing the public. And those were very strong words.
Yeah. Very true. All right.
Saying, was it appropriate?
All right, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Yep. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
How are you?
Doing well.
Okay. What I didn't want to talk about bounce, but you're finished with the Dr. Sands thing and the contribution with income tax.
We were talking about that all morning. But say what you have to say really quickly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I wanted to say as it relates to Dr. Sands, moving forward in this country, we do need income tax, right? But another thing I wanted to add to that is how politicians, for some reason, they feel like Bahamians have amnesia or just dumb. I heard when he made his contribution, talking about the nurses and taking care of them, right? He just had that minister post must he was. And don't the nurses them were still doing the same thing, striking and having the same problem and concern? What's the difference now?
Well,
I'm trying to figure out why do they do that? Like they just play on your emotion like you're just foolish,
Mm-hmm.
While they were under your wing, they had the same thing you saw in the media where they were complaining and striking and lack of poor treatment. Nothing changed, the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as it relates to what the Minister Bannister said, Dwight, my take on that is something had to have been some flaws or something in whatever they ran before the court with, okay? Because ain't no magistrate in their right mind would have come down and not ruling unless something wasn't properly in place. He come into the media saying that any Bahamian could whatever. Now, that was wrong. He should have never said that because that is like, we could see that, you can't because the ruling didn't say that for whoever understand it. It said that stop it, but nobody else is to bill. So for him saying that, I don't know where that come from because whoever have sense could read and understand what the magistrate say.
Justice.
Stop the domination, but don't allow nobody else. No one else could bill. Okay?
Yep.
That's common sense. Anyone would understand and could figure that out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, Laverne, I think you're right, though. I think he was, they caught him at the wrong moment. He was hot and tired. And
maybe if he had encountered the reporters 10 minutes later, his tone and his words would have been different.
Maybe.
Maybe if he had a chance to speak with whomever, rant and rave with them. When something first happens and you have all of that energy going there. But after you've had that first rant, sometimes your words change, less harsh.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my. Another call here. Good morning, call. You're on the air. Good morning.
Yeah, morning. Listen, just to piggyback off that caller was just called just now, right? Dwayne Sands and Dr. Menace need to hold on and go in that dialysis unit and try and see if they could stop that leak from what leaking under the tires, causing them nurses to slip down in there and break all their legs, and some of them having to retire, being out for a whole year with nursing their injuries. But the main question I want to ask your guest, because she seems to be a very, very astute young lady, and I appreciate her for that, is what Bannister talking about open season? Was there ever a closed season? Could you or your guest answer that for me? All right.
Well, when you put it like that.
Right.
I mean, well, it'll be like a competition now to see how quick and how many we can do, as opposed to underground. Maybe. But that's premature. That's premature, perhaps after the substantive ruling, which we have not received yet. and which we are told by the justice could come within 3 months. Could, yeah. But we will, it remains to be seen. All right, this text here. Since majority rule to present, each government has been spending national revenue like politicians would with political motives. We need to let politicians concentrate on making laws and reform our system to hire professionals to run the cabinet. We need business decisions rather than political decisions made over the next 5 years if we are able to recover in a sustainable way. Great show. Yeah. I totally agree. Been saying that for years. This one says here, in this country, if you they play on you scratch my back, I scratch yours. The Speaker of the House spoke of this years ago before he became an MP on another talk show. Fred Smith, the lawyer, wants to silence the media and Bahamian voices. Really? So we reject anything he says. I don't understand. And Bahamians can make up their own minds and have opinions on anything they want. It's the court's own good or bad decision that brings criticism. This is how many of these lawyers make their money. Of course, they will attack Bannister, but this lawyer said nothing when Fred Mitchell said no judge. Yes, Fred Mitchell said no judge will tell him what he can say in the House of Assembly. Interesting. I do remember that. Yeah, okay. On this one here, I agree with the Deputy Prime Minister, and I believe Fred Smith is gloating, and now you have Wayne Monroe looking for political mileage. But I believe once the AG's office presents the evidence, which is very easy to do, I believe the demolitions will continue. Remember, the first injunction was stopped a few months before Dorian, and we're in the hurricane season again. Yeah, it shouldn't be hard to do, but it's going to be time-consuming. Right? I think that's going to be a big problem for them. This one says, I agree with the disgust that Bannister showed for the ruling. Do we not show our disdain for the legislative branch when we don't agree? So why can't we show outrage when we feel a judge made a silly ruling? And they should really fire Carl Bethel. My gosh, oh boy. Okay. Another one here. Wayne Monroe and Fred Smith have both been quoted as calling members of the executive as, stupid and silly. They both should be the last ones to comment on Bannister. Okay. The more you make, the more you spend. If you are not spending correctly and productively, you will... I mean, you're talking about personal people, right? We can have checks and balances in government. We can do that. It can happen. So it doesn't have to be like that. You don't make a decision about yourself with the committee usually, right? Most of us don't. Do we? Maybe. Laverne? I don't know. Do you?
Maybe. So like you said, you can have checks and balances in place and enforce those checks and balances. Don't just have them there just to say you have them.
Right, exactly.
But actually enforce them. And this is how you become more responsible.
Yeah. All right, we still take a break. Yeah, let's take this call and then we'll take that break if they're there. Are you there, caller?
Yes, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, the minister did not lambaste or rebuke the judge over the matter that is presently in court that she thinks is going to rule. It based her over the injunction that was in the court, which is now over. So he have all rights to lambaste the decision that is over and done with until they repeal it. Then it will come sub judice.
Well, as the Attorney General said, they are going to appeal it. Then this is what Fred Smith is talking about.
Put that in motion, it's technically over.
Okay.
Make the application.
I hear you. Some of the learned lawyers don't agree with you there, but
of course, if you listen to the learned lawyers, though, they are on the opposite side, so they will have that view.
Yeah.
They can claim that something is wrong.
Yeah, at least one of them. Yes. We get what you're saying. Hey, boy. Anyway, let's take the break and we'll be back with more. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best.
Believe in best.
Pay your credit card via the ABM. Did you know that you can pay your CIBC First Caribbean credit card bill at our in-branch ABMs, even if you don't have an account with us? Yes, you can. Simply visit your nearest in-branch ABM today and follow the prompts. Visit CIBCFCIB.com to learn more today. Go cashless with CIBC First Caribbean.
Vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Oh, yeah. All right. My beautiful islands. I tell you, if the good Lord never goes on holiday, tell me why he made the Bahamas. If the good Lord never used to come this way, tell me why he made these islands. All the sun, all the peace, all the skies, all the breeze, all the creeks, all the hills, all the sand, all the trees. Oh, tell me why. Tell me why he made these islands.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. We're going to read a few more of your text messages in the final few minutes of this part of the show before we get to Morning Blend business. This person says, I agree with Bannister. As a country, a sovereign country, shouldn't we act always in the best interest of this country? And the mere fact that we have an immigration department signifies that we have required immigrants and have the right to select potential citizens that will uplift rather than further strain our economy in the instance of illegal migrants. Shanty towns, etc. This does not better our country. I think this is all some Bahamians are saying. You should not be rewarded in the form of naturalization or citizenship. If you break our laws, it's disrespectful and shows you will not be a benefit to this country. Okay. Hey, I think you got some issues mixed up in there that need to be separated, but sure. But you do have laws, and you do have to be respectful of people's rights under the law. And these folks did have a right to challenge what's happening, and that's what they're doing. And the judge is saying, while that's happening, let's not just demolish any and everything without making a case for it. All related to what you're talking about, laws. Now, the immigration thing is a different story. It's a different thing. But it needs to be addressed as well, without a doubt. This person here says, didn't those people go against the judge's order not to build, and they still went ahead and defied that order? Perhaps that's what the judge is saying. Come to the court with the proof and the evidence before you just go and do it while we're still trying to sort out the big issue. She's not saying don't do it. Just come to the court while this is going on, while this is still a court matter. Yeah. Another one says here, if the Deputy Prime Minister was a regular citizen saying those same words, he would be made to account for that before a court. Yeah, you sure? Where? It depends on where. And I wonder, I wonder. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not entirely sure. We need to get a lawyer, do a segment on that. What you can say, what you can't say. What is real criticism? If it's not a personal attack, if you don't call into question the qualifications, or if you call into question the motives, you allege that, like some of you have been doing with your text messages and on social media. If some of you have been doing that. If you call into question the integrity of the judge, that's a very different story than saying, I think this was a terrible ruling and I think this is wrong, right? Those are different things. So I don't know, but we'll get somebody in here to talk about that soon, what you can do and what you can't do, because people feel clearly on social media, especially, they could say anything. Anything. Bringing up stories from the 1980s, 1991, that judge used to, whatever. Why? But anyway. Laverne, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a break for the news and then be back with Morning Blend Business. We are talking about reimagining the Bahamian economy. We've got some guests who've got some views on it, some things we need to be thinking about, the things that we have not been talking about much. All of that coming up. You want to stay tuned for that, definitely. We'll be back in just a few.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, June 10th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And this morning we are talking about reimagining the Bahamian economy. Our guests have been talking about this for years in many ways, and they're going to be here sharing their views on it. One of our guests, no stranger to Guardian Radio, on with us often, and often heard on radio across the Bahamas. Very pleased to welcome back to the show C. Alan Johnson. Also this morning we have with us Eden Mary Gator, the CEO of SDC Communications. Great to have you both with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Dwight, for inviting me to do a multi-hour show in just under an hour.
Well, let's consider it part one of more to
we'll
come.
see how this goes. But also thanks to Guardian Radio for having me once again.
Okay.
How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
It's me, C. Alan.
Yes, good morning. Okay, so Eden, you've been on before, but tell people who you are and what you do exactly.
Well, I'm Eden Mary Gator. I'm the CEO of Sand Dollar Communications and Sand Dollar Analytics, where we provide targeted communication services like advertising, marketing, public relations, branding, customer relations, and it's all powered by real-time data.
Okay, and we know C. Allen's been talking about this almost every day. He calls in to talk about this as needed. But you, Eden, you've been doing some blogs. You've been talking about it in podcasts recently a lot about the reform that is needed. What's inspired this on your part?
Well, what inspired it was I started to listen about the different economies in national discussion, and it came up a lot. And so I started to do, and I realized that not a lot of people were having like succinct conversations about it. Like, how did we even arrive at this discussion about the different economic models that we want to develop in the Bahamas, right? And I especially wanted to do it because I wanted to talk to my generation specifically. I'm actually a Generation Z person, not a millennial. And not a lot of people have been talking to us. I mean, we have C. Allen, but he takes us way too far down the rabbit hole, way too fast. So I decided to do a podcast just in general talking about national development strategies, including economic development strategies that we can use to potentially develop the Bahamas. And I also heard the Prime Minister talk about how we needed to diversify in the different economies. And being involved in business development from a data standpoint, where we develop business strategies, I was really intrigued, especially considering that we can have so many jobs and employment opportunities and entrepreneurship opportunities developed in each of the different economic models.
Well, okay. All right, we're going to get into that in a bit. But, C. Allen, you've been talking about it for years, as we said, and we hear it all the time. People say we need to diversify the economy. We need to diversify the economy. We're not seeing any real movements. A lot of talk. Why do you think that is? What's happening? Why aren't we moving more aggressively towards reimagining the economy of this country?
Well, one of the main reasons is because we often talk about what needs to be done, but very few people has been able to articulate how and how to do it. And so we have a lot of Google experts and repeat what has been heard. And so again, when people say, let's diversify, and you ask them how, and they can't tell you. And most people say, oh, let's get out of tourism. And you go, okay, what exactly is tourism? And they can't define it. Yeah. They can't define it for you. And so the question is then, how do you speak about diversification if you can't tell where you are to plot a path as to where you want to go? And so when you look at tourism, it comes under a wider, broad category of hospitality. But yes, we absolutely have to diversify. But the question is, diversify from or diversify in? And that's the question no one is asked.
And a lot of people confuse tourism with hospitality. And tourism is what you do. It's the activities, the events, the attractions that we have. But hospitality is what we experience within tourism. And that's exactly what we need to focus on, because we're already good at it. So that's the best way for us to start diversifying within tourism.
Okay, that's going to be one of my questions there. Some will say we don't need to really diversify. We just need to go deeper into tourism. We haven't even scratched the surface, and we've got a lack of innovation with our tourism product, and we are underproductive in many ways with tourism. Do you agree with that? Is tourism still, will it still be, should it still be the driving force of our economy?
Absolutely. But here's the problem. I think Ms. Gator just touched on that. We keep talking about tourism. As she says, tourism is what we do. Hospitality is what we experience. Where we keep talking about tourism is a subset of hospitality. Let's use an example. Hospitality is the experience. Have we touched into sports tourism, the subcategory? Have we touched into religious tourism? Have we touched into medical tourism? Have we touched medical tourism? Have we touched retirement? We have wellness tourism. So the problem is that we have this one horse pony in this multiple horse race, and so the question is not diversify away from. The question is, and you have tourism being the 10th or hospitality being the 10th largest industry in the world. Are you going to diversify into one of the smaller industries, or are you going to look for unexploited opportunities in the whole environment? Where we talk about technology, that's another aspect. So we have all of these various aspects of something that we do so well. Tourism, we set the trend, and more so in this region that countries, at one time when we were doing tourism, they told us that we were mad. We were becoming servitude. But now you have countries around the world trying to copy us or move into this. So the question is, let's talk about the various different models of tourism under the bigger brand of hospitality.
Okay. Why aren't we doing that? What is the issue? Well, do you have any idea? What is holding us back from really exploring this?
For me, it's we keep drinking from the same well, the empty well or the empty cup. If you go back, and we talk about this, if you go back and look at the talking heads for the last 20 years, 25 years, even 50 years, it's the same individuals that is locked into the same ideology of what they know. It's basically, Eden and I just had a conversation, and she often pushes back at me in the group that we with, and they always, they tell me that I'm not necessarily the normal thinker, but even some of my thoughts is rooted in my previous behavior of how I see things.
Not only that, Dwight, but I've been almost exclusively on labor for our economy for so long that we're seeking ways to keep that trend almost. But digital will be replacing that labor very soon. So we need to move to an inclusive economy. So our mindset is what's pretty much holding us back.
Oh, so you're saying that we are just looking out for jobs, how many jobs we can get. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, when we need to focus on a more ownership mindset. And when we look at how we can move towards the diversifying our economy, those economies require a more ownership mindset where you can begin to see how we don't own anything, right? We don't own hotels, but within the digital economic models, you can see how Bahamians can start to own their own bed and breakfast, and Bahamians can start to own their own fisheries and even become major producers of food for the Bahamas as we move away from agriculture and move towards agritech. So it's a mindset shift that's holding us back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now we keep hearing.
Sorry, what does your model look like? What do you envision?
What do you mean what my model would look like?
When you talk about all of the ways that we can diversify, when we talk about agrotech, how do we introduce this? How do we get this to be something that we could now look at that's more acceptable? How do we get people thinking like this?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked that. Okay, a lot of the questions that we have are unanswered data questions. And so it's not a simple answer, right? We need to do the necessary environment. For instance, Dwight, can you tell me where I can find a copy of a SWOT analysis for the Bahamas? Can you tell me where I can find a pestle analysis where we can examine the political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental aspects of our economy and our Bahamas? The answer is no.
No idea.
Where we need to start.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. So there've been all these other buzzwords: blue economy, orange economy, many other colors. Let's talk about that. How realistic is it that we could really go deeper into those aspects? And again, what's the challenge? Why aren't we doing it now?
Okay, so the green economy. Many people think that the whole purpose of the green economy is to support the well-being of people. In fact, it's often described as a people-centered economy, but I just want to clarify that both the green and blue economies can exist without people. So for us, the green economy is about finding ways to coexist harmoniously with the environment without being a detriment to ourselves. So first of all, I just want to clarify that. But I'm glad you mentioned the green and blue economies because they really focus on our natural resources. And the lowest hanging fruit right now is being able to exploit our natural resources through the management of a sovereign wealth fund so that we can retire our national debt and we can focus on ownership and building future economic models with ownership in mind. And all the money gets to stays in our economy. I know we talk about taxing, but we should really be focused sovereign wealth fund, exploiting our natural resources for the benefit of everybody is the best way to start.
But Dwight, let me just interject here. For me, is yes, we have the buzzword, but oftentimes, like you said, these words like the creative economy has been used is something I've agitated for over a decade before the word became orange, and I am a digital technical person, and so now that as we move into this crisis mode, people have moved towards relevancy of repeating the buzzwords, green, blue, orange, red, gray, and making up different things. But the problem is when you ask them to define what each one of those is, they can't. And I in one of the series that Ms. Gator has been doing is trying to define each one of them as to what their relevance is, as well as the various different subcategories. And so when we look at what it is, we haven't sought out individuals that actually understands not just the topical issue of the colors, but the actual infrastructural building of it. Let me use a good example. You may go to a restaurant tonight and see a wonderful menu. You can make a note of all the ingredients and go to the store and buy the ingredients. It doesn't make you the chef of that restaurant. So you may go home and you could be defined as a cook. But the chef understands the intricacies of the actual ingredients and how to bring them together to bring out that certain palate balance. And so essentially, we've been looking for cooks and ignoring the chefs.
Dwight, you asked what is holding us back from getting into these different economies. I think we're waiting for someone to come up with some program to say, hey, everybody line up. This is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it. But really, it's up to us to enemies ourselves. The government can encourage it, but each of us can start doing this today. And that's basically what I was talking about when I said that we need to start with data, because for a lot of these businesses today, they will have to transform their businesses to fit into each of these new different economic type environments. And that will require a data-driven strategy. It will require research. It will require business strategies. And so this is more so an entrepreneurship endeavor that we have to take on for ourselves.
All right, so let's look at a couple of these. Let's look at the orange economy. What do you see as the potential there? Things that we could be doing right now that could get us on track to becoming bigger players in the orange economy. What do you think needs to be done? Or what can be done?
Again, let's go back to the SWOT that was mentioned by Ms. Gator earlier. We need to know where we are, and we need to know the assets that we're seeking to exploit. Yes, we have Junkanoo, we have Rake and Scrape, which is unique to the Bahamas. We have Gombe. We have.
But first, Alan, let's explain what the orange economy is. Okay, for those who don't know. See, he's taking us too fast. Okay. Okay, so the orange economy is the creative economy, and it has to do with the artistic content and activities, but it also has to do with culture and the cultural arts. So the biggest aspect of the orange economy is in how we exhibit our heritage and our culture. That's the biggest aspect for the Bahamas, because people come all over the world to experience Bahamian culture. And this is something that they can experience that they can't experience anywhere else. So we need to identify our strengths in this area. So now you can go on with the SWOT, see, Alan. Goodness.
Okay. Now, where was I? Okay. We need to catalog it.
Rake and Scrape, go on.
And Gombe.
Okay. And so these are, again, there's some cultural aspects that you can't experience anywhere. How we prepare our food. all of these things that we have uniqueness in a comparative analysis to other countries in the region. And then we need to look and target marketing, again, which is data based on data, target market, who we're trying to reach. What is it they likes? What is the micro targeting markets in between it? And so essentially what we've been doing is we've been depending on the inclusive hotels. And we have literally hundreds of inclusive hotels that is in the Bahamas. We call those cruise ships. And so when you have an inclusive type environment called cruise ships, they never get to experience us. They come off to buy trinkets, but their entire experience is on the cruise ship. And so essentially what we have to do is move away from those inclusive hotels that just come into the harbors and move into the inclusive type environment for the entire Bahamas of a hospitality mindset. And so when you talk about the creative, let's look at all of this minor skills we have. The wood carving. We have the world famous straw market that we have yet to exploit, both internally as well as internationally. The beautiful aspect of the conch being limited for export. We are one of the few places in the world left for conch. For the foodies, great experience for them to come to the Bahamas to experience the variations of how conch is prepared. And so there's a lot of subsets within the orange economy that we don't look for one big bang. Junk happen all the time. I think we've abandoned Bombay. We have yet to exploit rake and scrape cultural aspect. So we could set up a yearly experience where individuals who come to the Bahamas will never come for the same thing twice.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's a good point to take a break. When we come back, we're going to delve a little deeper. And Eden Mary, you talk about I think it's the aquamarine economy as well. Is that right?
You heard about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Want to find out what that's all about after the break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good for nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send picture direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas. Then pick install and we'll go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas, so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Hello, sir. Your credit card bill is due. Hello, sir. It's of creditors pounding at your door. Sign up for a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank and consolidate your debt into one low monthly payment. What's more, you'll also earn interest on a built-in savings account. The pandemic has curbed many freedoms, but at Fidelity, our focus is to help regain your financial freedom. Visit a branch or speak to a Fidelity Bank at 356-7764. COVID safety measures in place at all branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. There's not enough airlift to meet the demand of people wanting to visit the Bahamas this summer. That's according to Atlanta's president and managing director Audrey Oswell, who says the resort's biggest challenge right now is limited airlift, leading to escalating airfares. Based on the number of travel health visas purchased through the Ministry of Tourism, a requirement to enter the country, the Bahamas has seen month-over-month growth in tourist numbers since the official reopening of the economy and the tourism sector back in November. Tourism officials have predicted that the growth will continue over the summer months as more and more Americans get vaccinated and feel safer traveling. Oswald says Atlantis is encouraged by the summer booking numbers, but she says the guests are responding to additional airlift in markets like Austin and Orlando and say that they need more flights from key markets to service the pent-up demand, especially since summer is trending so well, particularly around holiday weekends. Summer will be capped off by the NBA basketball tournament, which is set to be hosted by Atlantis. She says overall summer demand is extremely encouraging. She says holding back the market will be the airlift and the fares. Travel health visa applications peaked just over 64,000 in April and are expected to be higher for the month of May when official figures are released. Speaking of that Big Three tournament, Atlantis expects a ramp up in business at the end of August and in early September when the Big Three playoff games, consolation game, and championship game are held. Big Three announced last week that it would hold those final games at Atlantis. Those games will be aired live on CBS and streamed on Paramount+. Travel data compiled by bookings analytics company Forward Keys has revealed that the Bahamas is set to see an 81% of its air arrival volumes of 2019 during the summer of 2021. According to the most recent research on booking data for flights between June 1st and August 31st, the Caribbean is the only region poised to have a healthy summer travel season, with bookings for summer also accounting for 81% of 2019 volumes. The outlook for other regions like Europe, which is set to see 22% of 2019 volumes, Africa and the Middle East at 31%, and the Asia-Pacific region at 7%, and the rest of the Americas at 38%. Global international travel expected to be at 23% of 2019 volumes. And lamenting that it has been too long now that the outside world has made decisions for Eleuthera, Hank Johnson, MP for Central and South Eleuthera, urging the government to move forward with approving the Disney Cruise Line development at Lighthouse Point. Local and international environments, including Hollywood celebrities, have launched a campaign to dissuade the government from approving the $400 million cruise port development project, arguing that the cruise line's environmental impact assessment does not provide sufficient protection. And a team of agencies focusing on increasing the yield and economic value of Cascarilla hope to increase the value and the sale value of the endemic plant 100 times the amount Bahamians who sell its bark receive on the market today. That's according to strategic development consultant with the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, Garnell Pelicanos, press conference yesterday that the ministry hosted. That press conference organized to introduce a video on Cascarilla production in the country. Pelicanos revealing that raw Cascarilla bark is sold to brokers around the world for just about $5 per pound. She and other stakeholders at the press conference contended that while this trade has benefited companies which use extracts from the bark in their spirits, it has not significantly benefited the jurisdiction where the bark is harvested. Pelicano says a new cooperative formed in Acklands and Crooked Island hopes to extract Cascarilla oil and send it to the market, demanding significantly higher prices per ounce than the bark. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Business section. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX. From Wednesday, your market movers, AML Foods Limited moving 1,257 shares, up 14 cents to $5.79. APD Limited moving 1,000, up $7.83 to $39.95. Doctors Hospital moving 500, unchanged at $7.35. Consolidated Water down 1 cent to $2.52. Emir Incorporated up 10 cents, up to $11.77. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 1,970.02, up 18.71. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report. Brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. We're back here with Morning Blend Business on this Thursday morning. Dwight Strachan, along with Laverne Gardner. We are talking with Eden Mary Gator and C. Allen Johnson, talking about reimagining the Bahamian economy. Just read in the morning business report about what's happening in Acklands, trying to get more money for Cascarilla. We've heard about this, and many have seen so much potential with this, but of course we've not been getting much for all this effort. Thinking like that, and now we're hearing more and more people talking about this, our natural resources. Many have said this is the way to go for this country and that we need to take more advantage of that. Let's get your views on that, and why you think this is just now in the last few years, last 10 years, I'd say, or maybe just a little more than that. But why are we just realizing that we've got this potential here? And again, it goes back to what we were asking all morning. Why aren't we there yet?
Well, we have failed to establish a sovereign wealth fund. And what do you mean by that? And I hear a lot of talk about this. The sovereign wealth fund is not about the money-making mechanisms. It's about identifying the assets of the country, known and unknown, tangible, intangible, seen and unseen.
And a sovereign wealth fund is not the same as a sovereign asset management. So you can explain the difference between those.
Well, right. Again, so what happens is you have the sovereign wealth fund identifying the resources. The sovereign asset management is for the exploitation of those resources based on data-centric decisions. Like, again, do we actually know the 100 plus different resources that we have in the country? And tangible and intangible? No, we don't. We often keep running back to aragonite or salt or other things. We have much more valuable resources that we can reach into the intangible, as opposed to say we're going to need to go run out and export and sell this. There's some dynamics that we don't get to discuss because of the talking heads gets to dominate with one or two of the subject areas. And so the sovereign wealth fund will move the assets. One of the most powerful assets we have is this carbon credits. And for instance, you talk about the aragonite. Aragonite is a carbon sink. And so you talk about billions of tons of aragonite that is produced in the country. That's a carbon sink that we can move towards carbon credits. Redefining the economy in the different models is what we're talking about. In fact, I think the question you asked Ms. Gator before the break is an important aspect of identifying those strength, weakness, opportunities, and strength. So,
and he also actually said, why are we recognizing the need for this now? And I think we're recognizing the need is because we're now forced to have it. We're now forced to see the value in having a sovereign wealth fund in times like these.
The goods. You know, Dwight, I think COVID is the best thing that ever happened to us. It's the worst thing that ever happened to us. It's the best thing that ever happened to us, because now we have to take time to think. Because you know, when even though this pony was limping along, we kept saying, at least it's moving, at least it's moving. And one of the important aspects now is
it's not moving.
Right, we need to look at all of the avenues that's available to us. And this is where these new economic models coming up. But I think on the show that I listened to with Mr. Anthony Ferguson, he made a very important point. We have too many people repeating what it is who really don't know how it is done. And I think that's the conversation that we have to have. Every day people say, why aren't we? Why aren't we? Why aren't we? They say, okay, why aren't the Bahamians on the moon? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we? That's not a solution. You know, what we need is actionable insights.
Actionable strategies as well.
Right, to see how do we go with this? Just identify them first. Again, this is the, what you call it, the PESTEL, the economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental aspect of who we are, of exploitation. What are our strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats? Let's define our workforce. What is the skill sets we actually have to actually begin entering into any one of these type of disciplines? And it seems to me that we're operating in a vacuum of information, a vacuum of data. And this is where we need to move to, because as we know, the world is now a database environment. It's it's the currency of the.
The world is one big data problem, is what I say. That's what I call it.
Wow. Well, many people seem to be waiting for the government to do it and saying, why doesn't the government do this? Why doesn't the government do that? I mean, that just.
And that's exactly what's holding us back,
Yeah.
because a lot of the solutions we can start working towards for ourselves.
And so, but again, right, if you don't have the conversations in context, then how could we see? Because remember, we must recognize what governments are for. They aren't for cleaning up the verges and the parks and moving derelict cars and all these other things. Government main primary purposes are legislation, policy, and procedure and programs. And what we have to do, Dwight, is we have to get beyond the cruise. It's a concept. It's a powerful concept that I heard expressed by in an argument concerning by a group of individuals who have expressed to the government wanting to do the cruise industry. And we somehow gave them the idea of, whereas their idea was beyond the cruise, where meaning that they can cruise within the Bahamas, they can experience the Bahamas, they can experience these things beyond the cruise. I thought it was an excellent concept. I wish I had thought of it, but we're not having those conversations. We're just talking, and this is where you say for 10 years we keep talking about things because we don't talk to them.
Wow. All right.
Do you think, though, see, Alan or Eden, any one of you can answer this. Do you think the reluctance to have these conversations to begin to explore these seemingly wonderful, profitable opportunities, that reluctance is, kind of the fear of the unknown, because you're so accustomed to doing things the same way all the time, even though you see that you're yielding less and less results? Do you think it's just that fair?
No, it's not fair. It's actually ignorance.
It's just a lack of education, I believe.
Yeah, because it's not that you're fair of it. You just simply don't know about it. You just don't know, and then you have this level of arrogance, of ignorance in our leadership. That's my expression. Is that we knew who they were before they reached Parliament, and when they reached, we then begin to look to them for all the answers. And so if we actually begin to have a conversation away from the same cups and the wells, we keep going to the same thing. And I think you and I spoke with it. We could have individuals express ideas today, and in about 5 years or 6 years, you'll have a person with a title of member of parliament or politician or religious leader repeat an idea that's 5 years old and it makes front page of the newspaper.
Yes.
And because we just have this this vacuum, and we don't want to leave out of it. And that's because it disrupted that thought. But again, change is a very uncomfortable feeling. But it's necessary. And I tell anybody who don't really believe in change, stand still. But now that we're having the conversation, we need not go back to the people who are talking about it now. Let's look at their historical capabilities. And we have to begin to recognize that real leadership doesn't need to know how to do it. They need to be able to bring together the people that do. And let me just do a shameless punch. Let's look at the tech hub for Grand Bahama. For 4 years, we've had individuals that had very rudimentary understanding of their cell phones, now talking not about utilization of technology, about building an infrastructure for which tech giants who do this all day would want to come into. So when you start talking about buying stuff, they say, and we have these tech hub and we have these shows where you start talking about buying appliances. Tech is about creation of knowledge, new information. The tech hub, the incubation centers, the innovation centers, the startup centers. It's not about buying a bunch of computers and technologies and coming together. It's about creating new thoughts. It's about a new creation environment. And so you have individuals who believe, just buy new stuff. Let's buy more digital stuff. Let's buy more computers. Let's buy all these different things and say, oh, we have arrived. And that's the same thing again with education. Buying tablets and computers is not creation of an e-learning platform. It's actually teaching digitally. That's not learning digitally. It's more presentation. And so these are the things but again, if you go to challenge them, then you become enemy of the state as opposed to someone that is critiquing as more so than criticizing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Eden, you talk, as you mentioned, the aquamarine economy. What are you talking about there? What is that exactly?
Okay, so the concept of an aquamarine came when I was doing my research about the different economies, and I realized that, first of all, not all economies are relevant for the future. And then I realized that that's how we came up with this national discussion about the 6 major economic models that we should develop for the Bahamas. And those 6 economic models are the digital economy, the green, blue, orange economy, and the conceptual and knowledge economy. And then I realized that economies continue to evolve and new economies continue to emerge. And I was like, well, why don't we create an economy for ourselves? Especially considering that all of these major economic models that are relevant for today and for the future can all be applied in the Bahamas. And then I thought to myself, what would be the best name for it? And then I thought about the blue economy and the green economy being our 2 major strengths in the Bahamas, with our natural resources and the oceans that we have. And I thought, why not name it the aqua marine economy, where we can be an example to the world of how to develop all of these economies and lead the world in that way. Especially, this is where the conceptual economy comes in too, because the conceptual economy can be considered as the mother of all economies. It actually gives birth to knowledge, and it's actually the reason why we have Nobel Prizes, where the value is in thought and foreseeing how we can solve problems that don't even exist yet. So that was it's still a work in progress,
Okay.
because I want to really think about how can we develop all of these economies
Yeah.
within the Bahamas.
That's very interesting. That's pretty innovative there. All right. So you also talk about, and I think a lot of people recognize this, that we are tiny. We mentioned this early in the show, Laverne. We are a very small country, the size
that's
of
an
small
advantage.
towns.
That's an advantage, because a lot of countries, they're like this giant boat in the water, right?
Mhm.
Where when they have to make a change, they have to really take time to turn around and make that shift. Whereas we're like a speedboat. We can make changes on the dime. We can turn, we can do whatever it is. And that's why we're really ideal for leading the world with developing these different economy types, because we only have 100,000 people, Dwight. We can start making changes very quickly.
You mean the working pot? Well, a little more than that, but the working, yeah. So you're saying that we need to, seen this on some of your online material, that we need to think globally and not just for this tiny population. Let's talk more about that and really marketing ourselves to the world with some of the things we're doing, especially in the orange economy. Let's get into that.
Okay, so I noticed that a lot of local businesses tend to be localized, where we basically fight over the same revenue that continue to circulate in our economy, and we rely on something to happen, some shift to happen, outside forces to make a change to improve our economic conditions, so that we can continue on to possibly compete for the same revenue that exists in our economy. But what we need to do is we need to focus to become global businesses, where instead of limiting our access to the economy, we can have access to billions and trillions of revenue globally. And seeing how we can find our niche within each of the different sub economies in the major economic models that we talk about, that's the best way to decide how you can transform your business to become global. And it's not just a one generalized answer to give. Again, that requires research, that requires data, that requires a unique business plan that's unique to your business needs. And that's the best way to get started, is to have entrepreneurs acquire the right expertise to start that process of coming up with data-driven strategies.
But
Dwight,
Go
let me just say that all businesses in the world now is global. There's no real aspect of a local business, especially in the Bahamas, because we don't produce anything. So it's just a matter of let's look at our needs, and we look at the other competing countries, or what you call lesser developed countries, and we can service their needs by tapping into the larger global economies right from the Bahamas. If someone in Jamaica or Trinidad or South America needs something, we can become middlemen in that aspect. And so when you have heard me talk about this so-called man in the middle concept for the Bahamas, and so the world is moving to this singularity of information and data and all those things. And the Bahamas is the one where you hear us talk about the sovereignty of data, the need for a location-based environment. And so the question is, we keep waiting for somebody to tell us what to do rather than standing and we fit in location, infrastructurally, resources. I mean, if you look at the 100 different resources that we have that is needed for this new incarnation of globalization, because mind you, we are where the world began. Globalization 1.0 began in the Bahamas with Columbus. The world is now in globalization 4.0. And I think this has come full circle back to the Bahamas. The problem is we're not having that conversation of the potential. Again, right back to the same individuals who's been leading us for 40 years, trying to redress, if you listen to the conversation of the rebirth of the economy, other than the talking points of these 6 different models, we're saying what? Cruise ships are coming back. And we have pent-up demand for people to visiting us. And we don't have, you talked about it, Dwight, visiting us for what? To re-experience downtown? to do exactly what? And so, but no one can answer these questions. We haven't looked at the thoughts and our cultural and our heritage, our position in the global environment. And this goes back to the concept that Eden expressed, the sovereign wealth fund. We keep looking for others to exploit our value. We say, let's turn over all of our assets to these individuals. They will exploit it and give us jobs. And so the question is, if we own these, why can't we buy the professionals that we need for complete ownership and exploitation? Okay, we don't need to sell. And let me tell you, one of the dirtiest words I ever heard is PPP. And I'm not going to get off track, right? If BPL could be sold and function properly in the private sector, then the problem is not BPL, it's the people running it.
Wow.
If water and sewer could be sold and function properly, the problem is not water and sewer, it's the people that's running it. And so when we keep talking about, we need to sell these assets, we need to watch the sovereign asset management company and get the hell out of the way of it being run. And they will make the same profit, except it wouldn't go to the shareholders that now owns it, it'll go to the owners who should have owned it, and that's us. And so the problem then becomes leadership, not these companies.
Wow. Okay, when we come back, we're going to get some solutions. What if you are in the orange economy space, if you're in the blue or the green economy space or the aquamarine economy space, what you should be doing now if you are ready to take advantage of these opportunities. We're going to get to that after the break. Stay with us.
That's right, y'all. Give me the thing. See, I'm begging. I never worked for this man. I think
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Tired to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Beulah, gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
again.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8FASOR or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
One quick check of weather. This morning, that high-pressure ridge is weakening, but still bringing some gentle to moderate winds over the country today. For all areas, look for partly to mostly sunny and hot conditions, a few scattered showers, and fair and warm conditions tonight. Look for highs getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that pleasant conditions will continue into the weekend. So for tomorrow, Friday, partly mostly sunny and hot with isolated showers, but expect increasing cloudiness and shower activity by Friday evening across the southeast Bahamas. Saturday, partly sunny and very hot with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas. The tropics are quiet as well. That's your morning blend weather check.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And we are back here with Morning Blend Business. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne. About 2 minutes to go, and we're talking with Eden Mary Gator and C. Alan Johnson, talking about reimagining the Bahamian economy. And we want action steps now. What do we do? We're tired of the talking. What do you do if you're in the orange economy, the blue economy, the green economy? You've got the ideas, you've got the drive, you've got the will to do it. Maybe not quite the government support and the legislation that will benefit what you want to do entirely right now. But what do you do in the meantime with all of this energy and ideas that you have?
Need to do is gather all the data from all of these different silos that we have and bring them all together in one central location so that people who want to enter in these different economy type environments can have access to real-time data to make the right decisions that they need to develop within these economies. And that's also when we go back to the aquamarine economy that I talked about, where we develop all of these different economies and combine them into one, all of these 6 different, and we, when I also, Dwight, with the aquamarine economy, I really was having a focus on global warming and climate change as well, because that's one of the issues that definitely affect us. So instead of selling our aragonite that we talk about, we should actually be using that to build up our shores and to combat global warming. So this is what I talk about with having contextual understanding about how we should strategize to develop our economies, because when we take into account what is actually needed, then it's not just about selling off our resources. It's about building for the well-being of Bahamians.
Yeah,
and just let me say, but she's correct. You know, in the data aggregation, that is where the currency is. But we need to have an understanding what each is, what each subcategories are, and we can go into building these subsets, and we can identify the strength, weakness, opportunities, and the threats, and individuals can then have access to the information. And it isn't just saying the colors. It is what we need is, you talk about that national development plan, and you use the word actionable steps. We need to take these books of ideas that the ERC brought, that the Grand Bahama Port Authorities brought together, and the National Development Plan, and put together some of the better minds rather than the same minds, and look to see how do we look at the data that we have and how do we begin to exploit this and direct information. But let me say this, there is no lack of money. Ideas is the currency of the 21st century. And so if we actually begin to develop this idea, this knowledge base, we can begin to exploit it. In the same way somebody takes an idea with it and raise the billions of dollars, we individually and collectively can do the same thing. And it's the same thing when we start talking about this. And let me just run up this, what do you call it, bed and breakfast? We have a database of 7 million tourists per year that wants to visit us. We only need to get 20,000 of those bed and breakfasts into the marketplace. Are you telling me that we can't find 20,000 of those 7 million people to come to the Bahamas for 1 week per year and fill those rooms, which will then be owned by Bahamians rather than these mega hotels? So would you say we need to reimagine what we've been doing, and then we need to imagine what the future can be and build there?
And that requires data, because we can't just be throwing out ideas. It needs to have context into a strategy.
Wow. Okay. Great stuff. Thank you both for joining us this morning. C. Alan Johnson and Eden Marie Gator. We've put up your contacts on on our social media pages so people can message you as well. But thank you both. Really appreciate it this morning, and hope we have some people thinking about stuff this morning. Laverne, thank you as well. As always, a pleasure. Talk with you next week.
It's always a pleasure. Have a great day.
And I'll be back with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business tomorrow morning. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.